Normally challenges make me feel good about myself because I tend to succeed and they're not like incredibly challenging, which I guess defeats the entire purpose of it. But this one made me feel really crap. It kicked my ass. I failed big time. Truth be told, I didn't even really necessarily want to post this video because I was like, I didn't make it through the challenge properly. Hello Stardust and welcome back to Radical Raspberry. In this video, I'm going to share with you my experience with the 7-day sugar-free challenge, and it indeed was a challenge. I'm going to talk about why you may want to go sugar-free, the pros and cons, and the struggles that I had in my experience with it. If that intrigues you, don't forget to keep watching and thumbs this video up if you enjoyed. Also, subscribe if you haven't already because I post videos every single Friday about holistic health and self-improvement. I love challenges. Challenges are kind of like my raison d'etre, my reason for being. If you've been following me for a while now, first off, thank you, but also you would know that I love challenges, whether you just saw my cold shower challenge or you know about me shaving my head and growing out my armpit hair. Those are really just challenging the status quo. Meditation alone is a challenge. I just enjoy challenges. I think it's one of the best ways to get uncomfortable, to grow, to learn about yourself, and I often like to do a challenge when I'm feeling stagnant. Challenging myself is, well, challenging, and every time it's not easy, and I also figured I could share what I think after reflection that I did wrong and how I can make this challenge easier in the future, and always learn from other people's mistakes. So that's why I'm posting this video, so you can learn from my failure. When I was out with my friend who does a lot of these types of challenges and is into that same like healthy eating, healthy living, I mentioned to her, because I'm pretty sure she either did a sugar-free challenge before or just the Whole Foods challenge, but I asked her about it and not really fully intending on actually doing it. I was kind of just, it was just like a side remark. It was just like a, hey, like that sugar-free challenge thing, that's a thing. So I made this like offhand remark to my friend, like, oh, maybe we should do the sugar challenge. And she was like, I'll do it with you. And then she texted me a couple days after and she was like, oh, let's start the sugar-free challenge. And I was like, okay, I have someone who I'm accountable to. Now I sort of have to. I was not dedicated whatsoever. So that's the first issue, is that I was not completely dedicated to doing this. And since I wasn't dedicated, it made it a little more challenging. I didn't really have a strong reason or intention as to why I wanted to get rid of sugar, which I know in everything in your life, if you don't have a powerful intention to why you're doing it, then it's not going to be as successful. In general, you are probably going to stop doing it because you don't really have a good enough reason to. At this point, I'm happy that I did it and it's inspired me to do it moving forward, and I've learned like a good amount about it. So thank you for pushing me to do that, because I probably wouldn't have done it if it was just myself. That's what friends are for. Thanks, friend. Going into the first day, I really had no idea like what I was supposed to do. So that was my other issue, is I didn't really properly prepare. I did some brief research of like what you can eat and what you can't eat. I've learned one of my strengths is that I like to just like take action and just like do something. So that's exactly what I did with this challenge. I didn't think about it. I didn't prepare anything. I just went straight for it. And because of that, I crashed head first. Moving forward, when I do this challenge again, I'm gonna make sure that I prepare. Maybe I'll write out what I'm going to be eating. Maybe I will throw out any temptations that I have laying around, and I'll make sure that I'm stocked on certain foods that are sugar-free. So for the first day, I already failed because I just assumed that yogurt didn't have like added sugar in it. And for breakfast for the past couple months, I've been having like yogurt with nuts and berries. After I learned, when I was at work, I work at a grocery store, when I was looking, facing the yogurt section, I was like, how come this one's unsweetened and this one's not? And then I read the ingredients while I was at work and I was like, oh, I already failed. So one thing to learn is to always read your ingredients. This is a habit that I used to be in when I was very strictly vegan, but then I slowly got out of it and I didn't really care as much. And then something interesting is there's so many different names for sugar. Like there's just so many different types of sweeteners. One helpful tip is to know that anything that ends with OSE is going to be sugar, just in a different form or a different name. Other sugars that I found that were weird was like caramel syrup or like raisin syrup, or there's like liquid sugar. There's just like so many types of sugars. So this is why it's important to read the ingredients, but I didn't really know that exactly moving into it initially, so I did not. But I gave myself a little bit of grace because we all need a little grace. We are not perfect. We are constantly learning. This whole challenge, I feel like I was just learning how to do the challenge. Everything seems to have added sugar, and this made me like really angry and just upset that we have to put sugar on in absolutely everything when it's so unnecessary, and we're just doing that so that people are addicted to that product. So for me, I was eating baked goods like every single day, like literally every day. I didn't really realize just how often I snacked on them, whether it was just like a cookie here and there, or like a tart, or just like some chocolate, or this croissant, or this chocolate croissant, or this lemon loaf, or this banana bread, or this, oh gosh, just literally everything. And then what would happen is I'd feel really good initially, and then about an hour or two later I'd feel like crap, and I just thought it's because, you know, I'm working, this sucks, who wants to work type thing. But I actually noticed the days when I was sugar-free, my energy was lasting, which is something that I haven't really experienced. I typically have ups and downs through my days, and a lot of times I thought that was just because of my mood. But I think a lot of times it's simply because I'm coming up and down from a sugar high. As I mentioned earlier, I work at a grocery store, which is so tempting. Every day I would walk by the baked good alley and it was just like staring at me. And it would be like, Amy, you want me? I'm so sweet and I taste good. Oh, and look, I'm on sale. Your favorite chocolate croissants are on sale. You want them? You want them? Eat me, eat me. You're having a hard day? Are you stressed right now? Eat me, eat me. Oh, did that customer piss you off? Eat me, eat me. Oh my gosh, it is so challenging. I realized how often I reach for sugary snacks when I'm stressed or irritated or just something goes wrong. You really have to test your willpower and your discipline, and you just have to walk away. You have to go outside. You have to say, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to give in to you. For the first about 4 days, it felt like something was missing, like something was off, like I was well full. I just felt like I needed something more. You're so used to consuming this food that when you take it away from your body's like, whoa, 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 whoa. That was very difficult because I felt like I was never satiated. And that really made me realize how addictive this is, because that is like any drug. It was difficult to find any snacks, but that meant that I was encouraged to eat a lot more raw food. So often I would just snack on carrots and hummus. That was nice because normally I snack on like granola bars or just like packaged food. A big thing that this challenge did that I forgot about is it just brought back like life and enjoyment to prepare my own food. I started making old recipes that I haven't made in a long time, but I still remember because they're just so easy. Back when I was a vegan, I learned a lot about how to cook, and so it restored this kitchen enjoyment, but that did not last very long because who wants to cook food every day? Not me. But that was really fun. I feel like that brought me back to appreciating my food and to connecting with like the whole foods from like the gardens. And then I felt more grateful when I would sit down and eat the meal, because I would just, normally I'd say thank you for my food, but there's just a different appreciation when you prepare it yourself and you realize just like how long this actually takes to get to your plate. Certain things that I didn't really realize, it was like the almond milk that I drink in my coffees in the morning. That the original version of those are all sweetened, but they do have unsweetened options. So moving forward, now that's what I'm going to spend my money on. It's the same for yogurt. There's an unsweetened yogurt. It's actually also coconut based, so it is vegan, and that's the one that I purchased moving forward. So when I realized that my yogurt is all sweetened, I was just really upset. I was like, okay, I'm gonna make chia seed pudding then, which is another recipe that I hadn't made in a really long time. It's so good, but normally you put maple syrup in it, and when it's sweetened, obviously it tastes better. So when I made it and I was like, oh yeah, I can't put maple syrup in it, I was like, this is not as good. Towards the end, like the first bite, I was like, this is unsatisfying. And then like halfway to the end, I began to actually appreciate, even though it's a little bitter, but the bitterness of the pudding with the sweetness of the raspberry, and it just like complemented really well. I had that breakfast for 3 mornings, and by the 3rd morning, I like really enjoyed it. Like I didn't really think anything was missing. I didn't really notice that it wasn't unsweetened. And I think it just really goes to show that we will adapt to anything that we keep doing. At the end of this challenge, I became highly aware of the problematic nature of diets, because after these 7 days, I binged like really badly. Now, to be fair, it was my friend's and my sister's birthday by the end of this, so I did have that easy access to a bunch of sweets. After completely cutting sugar out of my life, then I binged a lot. I ate these 4 chocolate croissants, and I was like high after. Like I was talking so fast, and I just wanted to like go, and I just felt like almost unsettled. I did eat a crazy amount, obviously, because I binged, and that's the issue of all of these diets that I'm realizing in practice. Like I knew that logically, but I didn't completely realize it. It was like because I deprived myself for so long that I was like, all right, let's do this head first into all the baked goods that I can get my hands on. And that's obviously not healthy. So I think moving forward as well is what's important is moderation, is the middle path with everything. So I can have baked goods, but maybe I only have them like Friday and the weekend, and then the other 4 days I cut out sugar. But that's what happens. Like these challenges, these diets, they're all temporary. They're not a lifestyle. Now I'm just a lot more aware of how dependent I have become on sugar when I'm stressed or irritated, and also just like how my energy can be maintained a lot longer if I cut out sugar. I'm aware of all of these added sugars into products that I never even really knew of before, and that there are other alternatives, and if there are, I would rather purchase those ones because they're not only better for me, they're just better for me, really. I think that's the main thing. It's okay to be selfish sometimes, okay? It's better for my body, and I want to show my body that I care for it and I appreciate it. I hope that you learned from my failure in this video that it's good to prepare. It's good to know why you are doing something, and also just like don't be so hard on yourself. It's not a failure if you don't do it. Like when I say failure, I don't mean it like, oh my god, you're such a failure. I mean it just like, oh, like you made a mistake, you can learn from this. Like that's more of the growth mindset that I'm also working on. So maybe I should change the word failure and I should say a lesson, or yeah, because your vocabulary is powerful as well. If you enjoyed this video and you made it to this end, I appreciate you. Thank you. I'm sending you a big hug. Thumbs up this video if you made it this far, and comment down below, what do you eat for breakfast? And is it sugar-free? I want to know. Tell me down below. I will see you next Friday. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, don't forget to think beyond and